Well, you started Australian Lawn Fanatics,
Yep.
90-something thousand people on that page now.
Mm.
His single question in 2 parts. What are your top 3 tips for anyone wanting to take their lawn to the next level? For one,
Yep.
somebody on a budget, and 2, somebody who money is not an issue. Top 3 tips for each category.
Mow regularly. Doesn't matter whether you want, whether you've got, no money or whether you've got all of the money.
Yep.
The more you mow, the better your lawn will get. And the reason for that is, if you're a bit of grass and every time you poked your head up, it got cut off, you would not continue to poke your head up. You would start poking your head that way. And your grass will get denser because you mow often. And also because weeds, the first thing that they pop up is their seed head to propagate. So if you cut them off before they get a chance to grow, you'll end up with less weeds. I think it can be a reach for some people to buy good products, whether it be a fertilizer or a wetting agent or, a pre-emergent or a herbicide or whatever. But I think sometimes the good products actually last longer in their application and do a better job.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say a wetting agent, if you go, I can buy 20 litres of this for, let's say, $100. But if the application rate is 300 to 400 mil per 100 square metres, you're going to go through it pretty quick. Or you can buy a 5 litre one that's might be $150, but if you use 100 mil per 100 square metres once a month, in the long run, you're going to be better off. And say the first one says it can save you 10% or 15% of your water bill. The other one might say it can save you 30 to 40%.
Yeah.
In the long run, you're going to be better off spending the extra $50 because you're going to use less water, you'll apply less often, and your plant will be better for it. Yep. So I think buy good products if you can and follow a calendar or program. That's 3 easy things. But I'll add another one, which is the aerate and scarify stuff. But just aerate. You can't grow grass in concrete. So whether you do it yourself and take your time and, poke something into the ground and lean back on it just to crack the profile and open it up. You know what I mean? Like get some air in there or just crack the hardness of what you're doing or what you're trying to grow stuff in. That'd be it. Yeah, that'd be the easiest ways to get a better lawn.
So really it's mow regularly.
Yep.
Don't cut corners on products because the better products are better value for money.
Well, work it out as a cost per 100 square metre application rate and then take into account how long it lasts and what it's going to do for you in the long run. Yeah.
And then find a calendar or a program that you're going to stick to.
Yep.
And the final thing is, I guess, if you've got the money, then annual renovation, aerating.
Yep. Minimum aerate. Yeah.
Minimum aerate.
Yeah.
Tell me about our big green shed. What's that, mate?
Well, I was sitting with the wife one night and I'd ordered something from one shop and I'd ordered something from another shop and I ordered something from somewhere else. And I said, it'd just be good if there's all this stuff in just one thing, like one place.
Yeah.
Just to, so because what you find is like, say, Plant Doctor, great products, organic stuff, but they only sell Plant Doctor. Or it might be Lawn Care Supplies in Victoria, which is K&B Adams for those in the commercial industry. They sell a lot of ICL gear and they don't sell Plant Doctor. But if I want to buy a granular from ICL and I want to buy, some seaweed stuff from Plant Doctor, there's 2 delivery fees there.
Yeah.
Which tends to add up over time. So particularly if you order 3 or 4 different things. So we kind of come up with the idea of let's, have a chat to people. Initially, it was we wanted to drop ship and never touch a product.
Yeah.
And just take an order and then it'd get put to Plant Doctor or K&B Adams and they would ship it. But then that came to the same problem that paying multiple shipping fees. So we said, oh, well, stuff it. We'll just have to do it ourselves. And we didn't really want to do it that way, but that's the way it's turned out. And so our Big Green Shed is my retail store with my wife. It's our retail shop that we sell some products in. Yeah.
Is there a product that you sell that, because some products fly under the radar, and people, well, there's overhyped ones. Like we've talked about this before in the podcast with different guests. Like urea is one of these products that people will be like, oh, I should get some urea because they've heard it 50, 60 times. I don't know why they're getting it, but somebody said urea once, they see it in the shop and they go buy it. People are buying too much of that because it's all nitrogen, nothing else.
Yeah.
Give me the other end of that. What do you stock that you just think, I wonder, people need to buy more of this. It's more beneficial than people think it is on surface value.
Yeah, urea is like giving Red Bull to a toddler. It's it's a lot of fun initially, but it becomes tiresome after a while, doesn't it?
I've never tried. My toddler is Red Bull free.
Yeah, probably keep it that way.
I will.
So I've heard. I think we've started doing our own products, and basically there's smaller quantities of ICL gear because in my mind ICL make the best lawn products in the world because they are the most researched stuff. For instance, one of their granular fertilizers, ProTurf, went through 10 years of testing before it was released to the market. So for us, one of our biggest sellers, we've got our two biggest sellers is TriSmart H2 Pro, which is a soil wetter. And that would be the one that is 100 mil per 100 square meters, and it can save you 40% on your water bill.
Yep.
That's one of our best sellers. And the other one would be Stress Buster because it's just amazing what it does to your lawn. That helps combat the stresses of what your lawn faces, whether it be disease or climate or, foot traffic or whatever. It greens it up and it gives a slight a little bit amount of nitrogen with it. So that'd probably be the two ones that I think are underrated, but the public is starting to catch on to them. So, yeah. But we are also... So Stress Buster comes in 10 litres and TriSmart comes in 5. So if you've got a 50 or 100 square metre lawn, they're pretty much useless to you. So we're doing them in smaller quantities, like a 2-litre bottle. So
yeah.
And
I think as well, people they like to try new things, and then after trying 3 or 4, and those bigger quantities, it's like, I don't want to try.
Because I've got 15 years of it,
Yeah, and if you're not convinced that it's going to be perfect for you, and you do need to try these things out.
You yourself, do. Yep, absolutely, yeah.
I've bought in the past, I won't name the brand, but I bought a 20-litre wetting agent once, and we just never used it. I ended up using it for barricade applications, like spart applications.
Push it in,
But I wasn't charging the client for it because we just didn't.
You just wanted to get rid of it,
and it was like, well, I've got it here, and I mean, it wasn't a super expensive one. It wasn't a cheap one either. It was in the middle, and it was just sort of like, it's just sitting on my shelf for a long, long time. And you'll also find that, like here in WA, because our soil is so sandy, you might go to Sydney, and there might be an area with a high clay content. The advice that I give is just wrong because I'm talking about sand, and maybe you're
trying to hold water in, whereas they're trying to push it through.
Yeah, and so maybe the product that I didn't like, I don't know, I haven't tried it, but maybe it's perfect.
Yeah,
exactly. So you do have to try those things out each time.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
What's a product that you've used that you were blown? Like, when was the last time you were really blown away by results?
The first time I did a ryegrass oversow. Because it was, I did it on my own lawn, and because I was doing it on YouTube, I find it tough I haven't done YouTube for a while because I just haven't had time. But things I did to my lawn, and after chatting with guys like Ben Sims and Brenton Klein and those sort of guys, we sort of come to the realization that we can't fail. Anything you do to your lawn has to succeed. So
Yeah.
I must have punched out like 20 kilos of ryegrass into this 200 square metre patch of lawn.
It was like a ryegrass oversow.
There's no way it could fail. It was never going to fail. But yeah, when that started to pump up, grow up, and I started reel cutting it, it was just like, wow. It's like, yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but I asked Ben Sims, I was like, I did a bit of a this or that game with him, and I was like, what would you prefer if you could? You can only do one of these for the rest of your life. You can only maintain cooch, or you can only maintain rye. You can't do both.
He would have said rye.
No, he said cooch.
Oh, did he?
But he was stumped for a while. He would have
thought long and hard. I bet
he did.
He loves
he
his
was really stumped. I know, but I look over here in WA. Nobody has rye because it's just too hot and summer. But
it's very hungry grass. It's a lot of nutrition and a lot of water. Yeah,
we did an oversow on a school last year because going to winter, the school lawn was in horrible condition. This is a small internal lawn, not like the whole oval. The oval was Kikuyu and it was fine, but there was I'd probably say you're talking about 400 square meters where the kids just played every recess and it just got trampled. And so we're going to do a rye oversow. That was so good. And I was there this morning and I'm like, man, why didn't we do a rye oversow? Because we can't. You have to do it in the school holidays, which have been gone.
Yeah.
And then you still have to block off the area for about 2 more weeks to give it at least a month of time. And we're like, oh, let's not do it. And I'm regretting that now because there's already a patch that's worn where the kids play soccer and it's just a primary school, just little kids. And so you underestimate how much damage they can do. Yeah.
They still got to stop and turn and they tear the grass. And I do a small commercial area in Brisbane CBD and they want it mint all the time. And part of the deal was we're going to rye oversow it for winter and then would have to top it up regularly because it's a high foot traffic area. And so we blocked it off for a month and they were like, we don't want anyone to walk on this ever again because it just looks so good because I striped it up with the cylinder and everything like that. And they were just like, this is the best looking grass we've ever seen. And then they opened it to the public and within a month it was stuffed. Because they held festivals and all sorts of stuff on it.
Of course. That's so hard.
Well, how can you keep it green? I said, you need to rest it and let us oversow it more regularly. And they're just like, oh, yeah, but people just love it. Well, okay, well, that's your results then. Anyway.
Yeah, and it's always tough with, and look, when you're doing residential work, and a lot of people who are listening to this who are on the Australian Lawn Fanatics, they will be just maintaining their home lawn. It's a different ballpark. As soon as you put people on there, and one of the challenges, like I started off maintaining schools as a groundskeeper, so mostly gardens and things like that, and then started the business, and so we do work at schools. And one of the things that is, it's just so difficult to manage. Like for example, I was spraying weeds this morning, but I can only spray externally. Not that I'm using anything that's really unsafe for kids because it would be dry before they came out. But you just don't want to spray. Parents are around; they just see you. And so anyway, I'm 2 weekends behind on my spray because every weekend it was raining. Or the wind was too fast, and this is one of the things about people who do public areas with a lot of wear and tear, or sports fields, golf courses. It's so hard you've got to deal with people, you've got to deal with weather, you've got wear and tear, you can't do it all the time, it's...
Hey, if you love the podcast, jump on our Patreon. It's the Patreon to keep this podcast going. The link is in the YouTube description.